Okay. I sincerely don't know, because one of the reviewers that I frequent a little bit said, like, to him that this was a high point, and then the rest of the season couldn't match up to it. I can kind of see his point a little bit, but we also still have half a season left. Like, I assume that there's going to be some big consequences for what happened in this episode. My name is Daniel Strong. Welcome back to QuickTime Reactions, and welcome. I had to do this one immediately. I had to. After watching it, I was like, yeah, I have to. I'm here to talk about Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, Episode 4, entitled Gloves Off. This was written by, let me pull up the name here real quick, Chantel M. Wells, and was once again directed by Solvin Slick Nahum, who directed one of last week's episodes, I should say, the one with the amazing oneer that was in it. So, both sides have hit strikes on each other. And speaking of strikes, Mayor Fisk, he's getting in the ring for his charity event that's going on. Meanwhile, Karen and Matt have all of these refugees there from, that were being kept in the Red Hook Freeport. And so they figured that they might be of some use. So both sides are formulating and strategizing about what their next move is. However, there's still a rogue element sneaking around a little bit. And his name is Benjamin Poindexter. Will he cause some stuff to go down? We'll have to see. So, I absolutely loved this episode. It's probably my favorite out of the bunch so far. And like I said, this has some pretty big consequences going forward. So let's start at the beginning. We start with Poindexter. We just see a normal day in his life, making his breakfast, making his bed all nice and neat, and then, going out and saying hi to his neighbor at his apartment complex, feeding the cat, and, just strolling about, not a care in the world, just like a happy little day. Goes to a diner, gets himself a banana milkshake, and then calls the anti-vigilante task force, saying that Frank Castle is in the exact same location that he's at. And, they're going to respond to that. They're going to be on their way. And then Poindexter, once they get there, proceeds to kill every single person on that task force that's there. Which I found, one, pretty awesome, and two, absolutely hysterical. Like, this dude literally just called the anti-vigilante task force to literally bring them to die. Like, that's incredible. So, like I said, Karen and Matt have all these refugees from Red Hook there, but there is another person that's still out there. The first mate of the Northern Star. He makes their way to their little refugee spot and relays everything to Karen and Matt. Of course, Matt in his Daredevil costume. And both Matt and Karen decide that, yep, Kristen's going to have to come in and get his testimony, and so that they can use that against Fisk. Meanwhile, Kristen's having a little bit of a hard time at the law office, more so in the fact that the anti-vigilante task force comes in and absolutely wrecks shop, trying to look for Jacques Duquesne, swordsman. And Kristen's like, I've not seen him anywhere. Maybe he's behind that glass wall over there. And cop's like, if you've seen him, I don't have any time for your legalese BS. Just like, if you've seen him, call us. And of course, Kristen fires back, with her law speak. And, the head guy's like, I really could not care less about your law speak. If he's here, you call us. Oh, and by the way, tell Daredevil we say hi. And so, yeah, it's not looking good. And it's not looking good for Fisk because, well, there's a whole lot of people that escaped from Red Hook. And you know who's probably, a little less happy about that? Mr. Charles. We once again see Matthew Lillard in this show, which means this episode is an automatic 10 out of 10 for me. And so, of course, Mr. Charles is ragging on Fisk about, these weapons are supposed to be, in another place, spreading the message, but they're still here. Why is that? And Fisk is like, they're here because Daredevil knows that they're here. And Mr. Charles is going on and on and on. And Buck reaches down for his gun. But, of course, Mr. Charles also came prepared with not one but two guys with guns. And I love Fisk's comeback after Mr. Charles says a line. It's like, we both know that, when coming in, you should always have an exit plane coming out. And I love the brilliance of this. Like, Mr. Charles is like, he's speaking to Buck when he says this. Like, oh, no, you don't have to do that. You can put your arms down. And as soon as he does that, Buck reaches for his gun and just headshots both guys that Mr. Charles brought in. And, yeah, Fisk, he's not playing games. And he's going to honor his agreement. It's just not going to be now. And, that's not going to be, what Mr. Charles wants to hear, but it's what he's going to be hearing. So, this is a bit unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, back at the law office, Kristen is trying to sort things back in order when Karen makes an appearance, and Kristen is not having any of it. She doesn't want to help in any way, shape, or form because she's already dealing with all sorts of other BS with the anti-vigilante task force and the vigilante trials, all that stuff. But Karen knows that Kristen knows people very well, and Kristen's like, what do you want? And how much is this going to screw up my life? So she's in. Meanwhile, Vanessa is going to meet with the governor of New York to try and smooth things over. And another reason as to why she's probably leaving is because Fisk doesn't want her at this boxing match. Because it is very much used as a trap for Bullseye to lure him in and so that the task force can kill him. And it seems like it's going to work because we see him watching TV, knowing exactly where that this is going to be. And sure enough, he flings a coin straight into the TV and breaks it. So, yeah, he's definitely going to that boxing match. Meanwhile, I love that Matt uses the task force gear to get inside the diner to see where Bullseye went with his path of destruction and ends up finding a coin a coin that you can only get from the church that Bullseye visited a couple of episodes earlier. Also, I have to mention this. I love the fact that we are bringing in footage from the Netflix show. Like they showed Fogwell's gym with Foggy's dad and him when he was a kid. Showed him as a kid inside of the church. Like I thought that was a really cool touch. And so Matt, in the task force gear, asked the priest who talked with Poindexter a couple episodes back, just trying to get all the information that he can. And the priest says, he always sees me opening the doors for morning mass and hearing the bells. And Matt tries to extract a little bit more information and then finds where Poindexter's apartment is. Which leads to Daredevil and Bullseye having a fight. We knew that they were going to team up in this season, or at least some of us knew that they were probably going to be teaming up this season. So it was pretty cool that we did at least get one Daredevil and Bullseye fight. But Bullseye says, hey, one good deed, that's all it takes. And I'm on your side on this. I am just going to be doing one good deed to get my mind right and straight. And Matt immediately figures out what that deed is going to be. Fisk killing him. And so this leads to a chase, and Bullseye ends up getting away. Meanwhile, the first mate of the Northern Star gives his testimony to Kristen, and they got it all on tape. First mate says that they had to scuttle the ship if anyone else got aboard. Orders came from someone that's called the Kingpin, and it was Daredevil, the one that got on the boat, which made them scuttle the ship. And Kristen said, no worry, marshals will be coming to take you on the safe passage. Meanwhile, back at Fogwell's gym, the fight is about to start. And in fact, earlier on in the episode, Karen was going to try and give out some information on an SD card, but she didn't feel safe about doing it herself, so Angela decided to do so. And she ended up visiting Javi at a food truck and basically handed him a big wad of money with that SD card attached. And so at the fight at Fogwell's gym, BB gets in line with Daniel, but then Javi shows up, showing like he's a fan of the BB report and wants to get a picture with BB, and he ever so subtly slips that SD card into her jacket. And thank goodness Daniel is as dumb as a doorknob and doesn't realize it. And he also doesn't realize when they're inside, when getting merch, that he has a discount as well. So, that's giving our name a bad rep, man. So then the fight happens between Kingpin and this guy who has a boxing record of 32-2. And I immediately had the suspicion of Kingpin's probably going to kill this man in the ring. Fisk is going to, make a man die in the ring. And sure enough, even in the locker room, Fisk was like, oh, he's not going to land a glove on me. And sure enough, in the beginning, that was the case. He was hitting heavy strikes on him, making him bleed from the mouth and from the face. It was awful. Like, Fisk's gloves and shirt covered in, well, maybe not covered in blood. There's spatterings of blood on the shirt, and the dude's face is just absolutely wrecked. Meanwhile, the marshals do come up and pick up the first mate, bring him to a very familiar-looking port, And sure enough, who's waiting there to execute the marshals and the first mate? It's Buck. So all the loose ends are taken care of. And sure enough, Fisk, that makes him happy and all that stuff. But then Vanessa walks in. And this actually allows the boxer to land a punch on Fisk. And of course, Fisk doesn't like that at all. Hits him with multiple body shots and then drops him with a big shot to the face. He's knocked out. Fisk wins the match, obviously. Vanessa then gets into the ring, and Fisk is trying to tell her, like, you shouldn't be here. And Vanessa's trying to revel in the moment, and then hell breaks loose. Poindexter arrives, starts laying out task force agents left, right, and center, grabs the snow globe that Daniel highlighted that had Fisk's face in the middle of the city, throws it towards Vanessa's direction. But Vanessa came prepared because she had packed a gun in her purse when they were back at the house, at the mayor's house earlier. She did pull out the gun and did get a shot in on Poindexter. She did get a shot in, but you just see that crystal snow globe-like thing start wheeling its way towards Vanessa. Kingpin uses the title belt that he won to break it, and Poindexter has knives on him. Of course he does. Fisk also gets a gun out, goes to shoot Poindexter, but Daredevil stops him from killing Poindexter, and Daredevil manages to get Poindexter out of Fogwell's gym, and Poindexter immediately runs off. We don't know where he goes. Fisk basically sends the task force agents to find both Daredevil and Poindexter, Bullseye, and then he turns back to Vanessa, and you see blood running down the side of her chin onto the dress. A piece of what I assume to be the crystal snow globe thing got stuck in her head. And yeah, sure enough, even though Fisk says to call for an ambulance, I'm going to make the very safe assumption and say that Vanessa is dead. Which is absolutely insane that is where the episode ends. And mark my words when I say this, not just Daredevil and Bullseye, all vigilantes in the city are going to get raked over the coals with the amount of fury that Fisk is going to rain down. 'Cause, man, he is going to be pissed off about this. I cannot wait for the back half of this season. It is going to be absolutely insane. Granted, I have heard one reviewer say that this is kind of the high point of the season, and then in his opinion it kind of falls off. But we will just have to wait and see what happens. But that is my review of Season 2, Episode 4 of Daredevil Born Again. This show is getting crazier and crazier, and I'm so excited to see what happens in the back half of this season. I can't wait. But in the meantime, guys, be safe out there. And I was going to try and make like a joke about, trying to stay safe from a person that has like really good aim. But I guess in that instance, it's like always walk. Even the task force agents, like I assume that's bulletproof, and they got killed. So, if you come across someone that is very deadly accurate, you might as well just, kiss your ass goodbye at that point, because they will try and find a way. They will try and find a way. I will catch you guys next time.